Okay. All right. It's the first episode, boys. We're here. The Bunker Hill Boys podcast. We're doing it.
That's not.
Yeah. I guess a quick introduction. I'm Solomon. We got Andrew and we got Lot. All of us are mid-20s. And there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on that needs to be discussed.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, Andrew, what are we talking about first? In episode 1, the Genesis.
This past week with Ukraine, the Secretary General of NATO said that NATO's priority is to support Ukraine militarily, adding that if you want a lasting, just peace, then military support for Ukraine is the way to get there. Look at the words.
So this is the Secretary. This is the Secretary General of NATO saying this.
Yes.
Okay.
And you can pull that up.
Yep. 1 second. Is that the NATO apology?
No, Ukraine and Ukraine only.
Okay. Let's pull that up real quick just so we can see the article on it. 1 second. Let's get there. So this is from Reuters.com?
Yeah, Routers.
Yes. Reader Routers.
You scroll down, it's got the quotes right there.
Okay. So... Oh, in Norway. Okay. Is Ukrainians only who can decide when there are conditions in place for negotiations and who can decide at the negotiating table what's the acceptable solution? Okay.
I just thought that was important to bring up because you have a conflict with two countries where only one country decides where the conflict is going, and it's the weaker country. It sounds like a recipe for a never-ending conflict.
Yeah, especially when it's up to Ukrainians to decide, when this war will be ended upon whether, a peace isn't obviously an option for them on either side of Russia because they're not going to get the land that they want because Ukraine will never give that up, along with NATO and the U.S., advising them to keep it going because of all the money we're sending to them. Plus, when you think about the oligarchs and Zelensky and shit, it's not like they're the ones at the front lines in Ukraine. They're just sitting back and letting the war happen.
But the pictures, Lot. But the picture, he's wearing plate carriers. He's there.
Oh, yeah. The plate carriers. Yeah.
He's there. Come on.
Yeah,
no, I think to hit on a point that you just said, so not to interrupt, but the fact that you just said that they are going to have all the cards are basically in what the NATO general just said. All the cards are in their hand, and they basically have what seems to be an unlimited supply of Western resources. So why would they stop?
Yeah, exactly. Why would they? Unless it comes to the point when Russia really starts, driving whatever narrative they feel is, fit for the whatever issues at hand at the time, whenever it escalates to a certain point. It just depends on what step or action Russia might take. And with certain NATO countries that are closer to those borders, with Poland or whatnot, maybe they'll feel pressured eventually. Because I did hear word at one point where I don't think anything became of it, but that Poland was debating on whether or not to send troops actually into Ukraine. I'm not sure if you could pull that up or not, or if maybe it's discussed in here. I don't know. I doubt it's in this website or whatnot. But
let's take a look.
That's just a ticking time bomb, I guess you would say, for something to actually have the dominoes fall.
Boy. Wow. All right. 1 second. Let's pull this up. So to hit on what you just said, this is the first thing that just pops up on my Google. As tensions mount, Poland plans to deploy troops to its border with Belarus, which is right there.
Belarus, that's Belarus borders Ukraine and Russia.
Yep.
So they're mobilizing 10,000 Polish soldiers to the border. Poland is a NATO ally and vital friend to Ukraine. Yada, yada, yada. Um,
And it's not just Poland sending
Let's-
troops to Ukraine. The second troops are deployed in Ukraine to fight Russia,
so right here's the question.
it'll pretty much implicate a full NATO response.
Macamon. So who's Macamon? So, the host. Okay. So the interviewer said, "Big question. Based on your reporting, what can you say is the likelihood of escalation between Poland and Belarus? More troops so certainly makes it likelier." Polish Defense Minister, Blazak
Mouthful.
said that
Blazak.
said that Poland is preparing for multiple different scenarios. So,
Hmm.
I mean, that's definitely in the wheelhouse of
Yeah.
mobilizing troops to that general region. Let's get back to the document and move on.
It's crazy. And Poland's a NATO country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
So their troops get attacked.
Yeah.
All of NATO has to respond.
Yep. Well, that's the whole thing with NATO that a lot of people don't understand is NATO is not like the UN. NATO is a defensive alliance. It's literally
Military
a defense.
alliance.
It's a military defensive pact that, if I recall, was never like NATO doesn't go to war together. I mean, they do,
Yeah.
but like not in the sense of like NATO doesn't declare war.
They were
But-
created to prevent
only if
war.
they're antagonized. Like
Yeah.
if they're
Yeah, exactly.
provoked. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's kind of
a
like
defensive
mutually
pact.
assured destruction. They were created to prevent wars.
Mhm.
Because you attack this little country, well, you're gonna go to war with everyone else.
Right. Yeah,
The main
exactly.
purpose is to
It's the
prevent
big brother type shit when it comes to, I mean, you attack
Yeah.
the little guy. But that's scary as shit. And that's what a lot of people don't understand is this whole like, let's tie Ukraine into NATO and Russia being like absolutely terrified of that. I mean, I don't think it's justified at all to go to war or invade
Hey.
somebody over that. But I mean, I definitely can understand where tensions would rise when a defensive alliance that is basically the entirety of Europe is on your doorstep.
Mhm.
If Ukraine joined NATO, then all of NATO troops and weapons would be put in Ukraine. Just like in the Cold War, when missiles were put in Cuba, our generals wanted to invade Cuba. And
No,
the same military-industrial
it's different.
complex.
It's
the
different.
same
See,
military-industrial complex saying that Russia can't do exactly what we did, what they wanted to do. Kennedy, thank God, prevented that.
Because
you see this behind us. This is what allows you to do it.
Look up Operation Northwoods if you're listening.
It's crazy. It's not real. It's a conspiracy. Trust me. Hang on. Let's see if this actually works. It's a conspiracy.
It's a theory.
Okay. All right. Let's get back to the NATO fueling the fire.
Okay, so speaking on Tuesday this past week, the Stoltenberg's chief of staff, Stein Jensen, said a solution to the conflict could be for Ukraine to give up territory and get NATO membership in return. He claimed the idea was being actively discussed within NATO. That's not bad. That's what we've all been calling for, pretty much.
Yep.
But these remarks set off a wave of condemnation. Unsurprisingly, in Kiev, where Zelensky has outlawed negotiations with the Kremlin as long as Putin stays in power, and has promised to retake all of Ukraine's former territory, including Crimea. NATO later issued a statement within hours of Jensen's remarks, insisting that NATO's policy has not changed. While Jensen apologized and said his remarks were a mistake, he also praised Ukraine's heroic effort against Russia. And contrary to what he said only a day earlier, claimed that NATO officials were discussing how much territory Ukraine is able to take back. So a complete reversal.
Back.
Do we have
He said what we all wanted to hear.
source for that, Andrew?
Yeah, the source for that is the NATO apology.
Just pull that up real quick.
So he basically said what we've all been talking about and wanted to hear from NATO from the beginning, and reversed it the next day.
Yeah, it's crazy. The territory that they don't want to give up are actually people who want to be part of Russia, who voted to be
pro-Russian.
part of Russia.
Yes.
They're pro-Russian.
Yeah, the Donbass
They
region.
speak Russian, but when it
What?
comes to the offensive or the counter-offensive, whatever operation, engagement, whatever you want to call it, by the Ukrainian side, they're just attacking civilians that are, actually wanting to be part of Russia, like Belarus and whatnot, or not
Allegedly.
Belarus, but the Donbass. I'm sorry, yeah, Donbass
Since
region.
2014.
Yeah, since
So-
2014.
So that's a major issue that I have as well. And not only that, but so Ukraine didn't want anything to do with this invasion, right? Like, no one ever wants to be invaded. But
Absolutely
if you don't
not.
want to be invaded, and I understand that, I guess, if you have the ability to then regain lost territory, but to hit on your point, Lot,
Mhm.
if these people don't want to be part of your country, is that not annexing? Is that not just forced subjugation? Am I
Yeah.
wrong?
That's
No,
why they've been
I mean,
in
even
violent
our
conflict since
media.
2014.
Yeah, our media back in 2014 even acknowledged how corrupt fucking Ukraine was. The constant fucking war, I mean civil war, if you will, like that was going on at the time, like up until, the coming days
We
of
pulled this up in the last podcast. They probably changed their mind on that, exposing Ukraine, because out of Ukraine comes the largest donations to the Clinton Foundation.
Yeah. Then they saw a
This
market
is in
opportunity.
theory. This is in theory for anyone listening. But
Yeah.
that's part of the podcast. Oh yeah. No, I mean the powers that be that were active
Follow
back
the
in
money.
2014 had an extreme vested interest in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Due to, it's not arguable the finances that were coming out of it, the financial backing for the party
Mm-hmm. That could
or
go
the
a whole
foundation,
nother topic.
and to sit there and, I don't know, man. It's so troublesome, the timeline.
It really
For anyone
is.
listening that doesn't know the whole backstory of the Ukraine conflict, one of NATO's promises when NATO was formed was that we promised Russia that NATO would never expand one nation to the east.
Well, we've done it time.
We'll clarify
Involving
that.
Ukraine
What do
in
you
NATO
mean?
is expanding so far east that it's touching Russia.
So what was the initial pact initially? Like, where
NATO
were the
won't
borders
expand.
drawn?
Yeah,
If
let's pull
I'm-
that
You
up.
can pull it up. Original
I'm-
NATO.
Correct. The border was Germany.
Yeah,
I
because
recall.
that's
I
why
thought
they
it was
got rid of the
Poland.
Berlin Wall.
I thought it was Poland because I think they're farther east, if I'm not mistaken.
Pull that
But
up, though. That's
I'm not
really
gonna
good
be
for
wrong.
people that don't know. That's the origin story.
Damn geography.
The only thing that makes me question that is that the Warsaw Pact, which was basically the USSR's NATO, I'm pretty sure was in Poland. But let's look. Oh god, we're finding some
I'm pretty
real.
sure Poland absolutely wanted to be a part of NATO after World War II.
I would too. Okay, 1949.
Actually, I think you're right.
Wow. Okay. No. Okay. Hang on 1 second. Let's pull this up. We're going deep, boys. This was supposed to be the bonus info.
It just happens.
All right.
It's
So
too
check
much.
this
I
out.
got a few more Sam Adams.
So this is a picture from the worldhistorycommons.org. So this is a timeline of
Ooh, that's awesome.
So
Yeah, that's good.
1949, it looks like we had
Okay, so this is France,
France, England, Northern
Italy,
Ireland, Scotland,
Portugal.
Iceland, not Iceland.
No,
Iceland.
Iceland's in there. Yeah.
Iceland, Finland, Denmark, Italy, Portugal.
Yep.
And so that's the initial
Initial.
Warsaw Pact. And then in 1952, surprisingly, they add Turkey and Greece, which I did not know that Turkey and Greece were in NATO. That's kind of wild. But then in 50, no, what's 55? Where do we
The
have
promise
50?
of not
That'd be
expanding
Poland, I
came
believe.
later.
That's Poland. Gosh.
Yeah, yeah.
Germany.
So Poland's 55, Spain is
Okay.
82.
Okay.
Or no,
yeah,
that is Germany.
okay, yeah, it is
Yeah.
Germany. All right.
So Germany was 55, Spain 82, and then in 90 that is not Poland. What is that?
No, Poland's to the right.
Yeah. Oh God, what country?
I don't know.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. I was so oh, okay. Weird thing. That's East Germany.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because the
Yeah.
USSR and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then 99 we have Poland and Austria. And then 2004 we have Hungary and whatnot. So
I think everything 99 and past is after we made the promise that we wouldn't expand anymore, and we just turned our backs on the promise.
yeah, because now we have. Shit.
There's a huge break between 55 and 82.
So that must.
82 to 90. You add East Germany.
Pull that up. Look up.
And then
United States ambassador promises
and then
NATO
2004
will never expand.
Bush really. A lot of countries fucking came in about just throughout the early 2000s. It's interesting. Interesting to look at.
Okay, right here. Let's pull this up.
I didn't even know Greenland was part of NATO.
Turner, pull it up.
Turner, pull that shit up. Okay, so this is from an National Free Europe Liberty Radio. Myth? Russia was never offered a formal guarantee. Former Russian diplomat that served in foreign ministry in Moscow disagrees that Chatham House peace is very bad. It sounds like produce ideology department. We didn't have to go through what. Oh, it's complicated. Okay, so I guess it's up for debate that wouldn't happen. But regardless, honestly, that doesn't even matter though, because any country can look at.
Well, it's complicated. They're not saying no, it's not true. They're probably finding one word that isn't exact.
Right.
I wonder if we could find a video. Is there a speech on the the opening or the first year of NATO being installed?
Let's take a look.
Well, you can look up the mission of NATO and how it was to prevent wars from happening.
You could.
The West NATO commitment. Here we go. This is from Brookings.edu. What Germans, Americans, British, and French did agree to in 1990 was that there would be no deployment of non-German NATO forces on territory of the former GDR.
What was the GDR?
The German Democratic Republic. The agreement was not on deploying foreign troops to territory of the former GDR. It was incorporated that 1990 the former streak.
Regardless, the splitting hairs, NATO should be doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
Just remind everyone.
Yeah.
This is good. We're digging into this. We need just to give ourselves a refresher. Fuck. It's just.
It looks like that was one instance that I was just looking up. But yeah, it's common sense. You're right.
Yeah.
I just got one more point on Ukraine.
Yeah, I just to wrap that portion up. Obviously what Russia's doing is bad. I don't think any one of us condone that a fucking invasion on a whim in the fucking middle of the morning is a good thing
Yeah.
for anyone.
And we see all these different like leaders in NATO and from various countries just kind of trying to rally the troops or just, have that narrative for pro-war in Ukraine and why they need to beat Russia just so pushed. And then you see the other side, fucking China is getting more involved and all the OPEC countries siding with Russia, bringing down that producing as
Saudi
much oil.
Arabia has
Yeah,
gotten
Yep.
really
you
close to
see
Russia
them
and left
trying
us.
to, they're trying to get their forces aligned to, whenever that time does come, and it seems like they're expecting it to come, that they have their, allies at hand for.
And this is something that really kind of drove me to want to be involved in this project that we're working on, is the fact that how many people do you see that are our age, which we are the age of the fighting age man in the United States? I mean honestly,
No, I mean, I get it.
how many people do you see that are out there talking about this shit?
Not
Because
enough.
who gets affected by these people in power in our country in NATO that are fucking old as shit, that are, yeah, let's go to war? Who's gonna die in that war? It's
Still
not
on the
them.
callback list.
It's not them.
No,
Yeah.
it's not them.
It's
That's what's
definitely
crazy.
not them.
The older generation too, people who aren't even, so tied into the government, even work for the government or into politics or whatnot, they just side with like their, party or whatever. You see them just push, like, siding with that narrative, like how it's good that Ukraine is, having all their soldiers die at Russia's hands and whatnot. And they want war.
The
They,
same exact
they talk
people
all
that
nuclear.
protested Vietnam.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Same
Yep.
people. Same fucking people.
Yep. I know. That's one thing that we talked about that a lot before, Andrew. How much that shit bothers me too, because it's like fucking 50 years ago, these people were out in the streets calling the fucking soldiers baby killers.
Yep.
And now they're like, "Oh yeah, no, we need to go save these people." And I'm not saying that we don't need to
They could have been saved diplomatically.
help, but diplomatically, is this country not supposed to be the leader of the free world? Is the free world not supposed to be?
If you believe this war had to happen, then you haven't.
This country's far from
the
that.
conflict.
I mean,
NATO
when
started
did we
this war.
stop following the fucking tenets of fucking Teddy Roosevelt of walk softly and carry a big stick? Like,
After JFK was assassinated. I would
Yeah.
argue.
yeah, no,
that.
I'm right there with you. I'm
Yeah,
right there with you.
Absolutely.
But it's just
We had-
it's so sad because we were supposed to be the paragons of what it meant to be civilization. I mean, that's what this country stood for. And I know that sounds
That's
like
what
a fucking
JFK stood for.
big-headed, fucking egotistical statement, but that is what
Actually,
we were
not.
supposed to
Think
be.
about JFK. Every possible reason to go to war. The Soviet Union had warheads in Cuba pointed at us.
Yeah.
Since JFK, we went to war against Iraq, and the justification wasn't even real.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It wasn't.
We have WMDs, and by that I mean oil fields.
They
But
don't
hey,
even. They
that's
admit it
that's
was a
different.
lie.
That's different. Natural resources.
JFK had
bombs.
every single reason to go to war, but he understood the value of human
They're
life.
of
gonna
human
use-
life. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, dude. It's so fucking sad that these people, we are no longer viewed as an asset. We're viewed as a fucking resource.
No, absolutely. I mean, and it's just so easy to have it be that way when you're gonna get me ranting about something else, but
That's
This-
fine. That's fine.
just
This
thinking
is
about
the Bunker Hill Boys podcast. We ran.
yeah, this is the complacency that's bred into people and the acceptance of what there is today. I mean, is this breeded through our addiction of social media, Instagram?
Yep.
I mean, it's easy accessibility for us, like instant gratification for whatever it is, like whatever that is that we want. I mean, when it comes to food or entertainment, whatever the fuck the case may be, it's just bred a certain mindset in people where we're
They're making us
They
docile.
don't care enough. They like things are just so less meaningful. It's very annoying, and you
That
see
actually
it.
ties into one of my points about Maui.
Does it?
That's funny. We'll get to that.
Yeah,
But
we'll get
to have a little more input on that, I
But
was watching a
It
video.
actually, this leads perfectly into my last point about Ukraine.
Okay.
So
Well, let's finish up on this. Just to finish that clarification of not clarification, but the expansion on
Mm-hmm.
how this country has been plagued. I would venture to say plagued with
Yes.
social media, instant gratification. It
Mhm.
is terrifying. And this is another reason why I think it's so important that we're doing shit like this. Because, again, mid-20s, most people our age are doom scrolling. I mean, that's what they do. They doom scroll. They get on their
Yeah.
phones and
I'll
they
catch myself doing it.
see 15 seconds. And, I mean, we're all guilty of it to a point. But, I
Yeah.
mean, I also have time throughout the day where I sit down and I just totally disconnect from media. I mean, when I'm out there carrying, I take my headphones off sometimes. I leave my phone in the truck and I just go and I walk out in the fucking neighborhoods for 2
So
hours.
me and
It's
Lot
like-
used to go around. We would catch someone doom scrolling and say, "Hey, what was the last video you just watched?" And they wouldn't.
They
even
wouldn't
remember.
know.
They wouldn't even
Wouldn't
know.
remember.
They don't know,
No,
dude.
They don't fucking know.
No, they don't know. It's an addiction, and it's
It is.
and not only that. And this is full
It's a
rant, and
trance.
I'm gonna pull the brake. I'm gonna pull the e-brake in a second, but it's fundamentally destroying the Christian value system. I'm not saying you need to be a fucking Christian, but I'm just saying the fucking values of family are gone. And the
No,
Christian values that
100% agree.
created this country.
empathy.
I was just gonna say that.
Empathy is gone.
Oh, yeah.
Have you guys seen that fucking video of the guy that got fucking stabbed in the coffee shop? And the guy starts live streaming it?
No,
And it's like,
I
oh,
haven't.
bro, he's gonna die. Holy shit, he's gonna die. And it's like, what are you doing?
That's all
like-
he was.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
He was live, and this is 100% legit. You can look it up. I forget if it was a TikToker or a YouTuber or what, but the guy is holding his phone over a dying, bleeding man. Mind you, the man does pass away too. And he's like, oh man, this guy's died. This guy's in his 20s that says that. What?
Dude,
Like,
call 911. Stop the bleeding. Like, what are you doing? Get
Yeah.
the fuck.
There's
Like-
also a news article. You can pull it up if you want. A Philadelphia, I think it's Philadelphia, subway. A woman was getting raped on the train, and there was at least, I want to say the number, I can't remember, it's like 13 people sitting right next to it. Instead of jumping in and pulling this man off of this girl, they all pull out their phones and start live streaming.
Oh my, it's so sickening.
I think it was Philadelphia.
It's
One of the major cities' subways. No.
I did not mean that. Oh my god. Oh no.
We're gonna
We're gonna
dead.
get edited out. That's
Yeah.
gonna get edited out.
we're gonna
I misclicked. I am so
Oh,
sorry.
God.
That is terrible.
Anyways, can I make this last point?
Oh, right here. Yeah, let me pull this up just so we have validation on what you just said, because that's some pretty heavy shit to say.
Oh, it's absolutely true. I know for a fact.
From the New York Times, looks like it was in 2021.
Yes.
As a woman was raped, train riders failed to intervene. Which, you know, on my
Military
final
age
point,
fighting men.
Seriously.
on my final point, where did the the basic human empathy go? Where is that gone? Because
Why aren't you
I
afraid
hear
to do something like
I
that
hear
in
a
front of
child
bunch of men?
scream. I hear a child scream, and I'm like, I am immediately am like, what's wrong?
Yeah, the
You
hair
know?
on the back of your neck raises, and you're
Right.
like, okay, what the fuck's going on? Like,
Right.
It's
And
just-
I feel like the fucking social media and the way that people are
Atrazine in the water.
Yeah, I could just keep ranting about that, but yeah, it's just pathetic, and I feel like more and more people, if we continue to do shit like this, and I'm not saying us because obviously this hasn't even taken off the ground yet, but if more and more people young people actually start standing the fuck up for morals and values, I think we could turn this around. But I feel like we are definitely at a crossroads in this country.
That's
Oh,
what happened. No other
absolutely.
place in time is someone have enough balls to do something like that in front of a bunch of young men.
Yeah, that's insanity. That's insanity.
Sad.
But okay, all right, we're getting way off track. Ukraine docs.
All right, the last point, you can pull up the source, 43,000 losses since June.
Oh, 1 second, I think I lost.
So the Ukrainian military has been locked into a counteroffensive against Russian forces since early June. The operation's goals have been to push south through the Russian defensive lines, reaching the Sea of Azov, cutting off Russian access to Crimea. So far, none of those goals have been met, and the latest Russian figures claim that Kiev has lost more than 43,000 troops since June. There is no sign that
43,000?
Zelensky or NATO will seek peace. The debate in Zelensky's cabinet is not about ending the bloodshed and destruction or peace talks, but on whether or not more men should be thrown into a failed counteroffensive or to dig in hopes of a fresh counteroffensive next spring. Definition of insanity.
When was that quote taken?
Man, bro, what is this? 1914?
What?
August the 4th.
Oh, wow.
So 2 weeks ago, this article was posted. It looks like the ministry spokesperson, Lieutenant.
You don't have it on.
I love these names, Lieutenant. Oh, my apologies. This is the pilot. So we're learning the software. Here we go. I love the names, man. Lieutenant General Igor Konashkakov. If your name's Igor, you're definitely a Lieutenant General.
Yeah.
You watch The Machine? Never
No, not yet. One day we're gonna be on Two Bears One Cave. The Ukrainian army lost 43,000. So my only issue with that, and this isn't an issue in the sense of like not believing it, it's an issue of the entirety of our media is pumped with that's nothing but propaganda. So
For real.
my question to you guys is, do we think it's propaganda, or do we think it's legit, or do we think it's somewhere in between?
I think it's somewhere in between, absolutely, because even Ukraine admits it's a failed counteroffensive.
Yeah.
They're dying. They're dying, for sure.
I mean, it's I don't know. It's probably impossible to know.
The number could be inflated a little bit. I don't know. Let's compare it to Kiev's numbers.
What was Kiev's number? Do we have that?
I don't know. You can pull it up.
I would just ask, like, does the number matter? I mean,
I don't think
at the end of the day, it does, of course, with knowing how many people have been sacrificed for this bullshit. I mean,
but it doesn't change the
It
fact.
needs to stop, obviously. I mean, it shouldn't matter what the number is for you to for the conclusion to come to your mind, like, okay, this does need to stop because this is outrageous. I mean, that should already be in your mind.
It doesn't take precedence over that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it looks like in total, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, just put Ukraine's total number.
We're already up to 500,000.
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ. Now, obviously we have
That's more than we had in 20 years in the Middle East. Way more.
Way more.
That's like
Oh man.
that's like
Not even
5,000 times more.
Yeah, something like that.
Man,
like,
that just hit me.
That's no, that's not that. Excuse me, that's 500 times more. But
Something.
that is
That's hard to talk
staggering, man. Because it
hard to
happened
talk about.
last spring, in a year and a half.
Has it been a year and a half?
Yeah, it was
it's been
what,
about
last
a year and a half.
Feb-
Yeah.
It wasn't even spring yet. I think it was February when it happened.
And who's going to get held accountable? Absolutely nobody. Who got held accountable for the Afghanistan withdrawal? Absolutely no one.
Nobody.
Someone goes break a law, every law-abiding citizen gets held accountable.
Yep. Yep. That's so sad. And if I kind of have a weird glimpse into the Ukrainian people's mindset because of where I live. I haven't mentioned this to you a lot, and I don't know if you remember, Andrew, but
yeah, I remember.
Where I live in the section of the city that I am at, I'm like right near a Ukrainian district. And so there's a lot of like Orthodox cathedrals and stuff around me. And I mean, every other street, there's a pray for Ukraine. There's a Ukrainian flag. I mean, hell, I was working earlier and I saw a massive flag with a car with a massive Ukrainian flag on it earlier. And, you know, the people at the end of the day, and this has been with every war ever since freaking Cain killed Abel, the main people that suffer are the civilians.
Yeah.
I mean, and you know, these people are, you know, I talked to a lady on one of my routes, and she is a Ukrainian seamstress, and she was just talking about how pathetic it is, and that the people can't come to peace talks, and it's like
Just
the
like Mabel
people
said.
want the war to end. They want the war to end. Who wants a war to keep going other than the people that profit from it?
The military alliance created to prevent war is saying that there will never be peace talks. That's in essence what they're saying, because Ukraine is the only one who could decide peace talks. Well, Ukraine already said there will be no peace talks.
Which blows my mind, because if Ukraine is a potential candidate for NATO, why would NATO not step in on behalf of Ukraine?
NATO can sit there and look at Kiev's numbers, 500,000 deaths, and they're not going to do anything to stop this war?
Oh, the quote is right here as well for anyone that's watching. The 43,000 from June to July. That's an insane amount of life lost in
heartbreaking.
the modern military. Because, I mean, like you said, you look at the Middle East, and I don't want to misrepresent
20-year conflict,
but and we're specifically talking of Afghanistan, right?
Yeah, you can say however you want.
Let's take a look, and we'll do it in general. So the general number, and this is just straight off of Google from apnews.com, a total of allied NATO forces lost 1,144 since Afghanistan. 1,144. That's 1,144 service members. This is 500,000 in a 20th of the time. I mean, it's just, and mind you, this is just with conventional weapons. This isn't with mass destruction weapons.
It's with conscripts. It's with mercenary groups.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, I mean, this is the bear and the blue and yellow just going fisticuffs. I mean, they're just throwing bodies at each other at this point.
Yeah.
And I mean, like they said,
it's trench warfare. Almost.
It's trench warfare. That's what a lot of correspondents have been saying. And it's like, how can you fucking anyone that knows anything about history, particularly World War I history, should be absolutely fucking mortified of the thought of conflict, especially trench warfare. And if you're not, I strongly encourage you to either read or watch All Quiet on the Western Front.
I mean, especially like these dudes, especially like the mercenaries and the Ukrainian soldiers getting thrown onto new ass equipment, new vehicles that we're sending them. They have minimized like time to actually become efficient with the fucking equipment they're working with. They're going against the Russian army with like their equipment and tanks are pretty freaking badass. Like I'm not gonna just was strictly talking about like when it comes to like their tech. I mean, they're pretty efficient as fuck, but I mean, it's not like they're I mean, they don't get the chance to become comfortable with the Bradleys or the Abrams or whatever type of other tanks we're fucking sending the Ukrainians to work on. I mean, yeah.
Well, that's evident just by that story I remember seeing about there was like 19 Bradleys lost in one day.
And as soon as Bradleys are lost, how quick does the military start paying people to build more Bradleys?
Yeah.
How quick does the money go right back?
I mean, it also gives us a chance to see what our vehicles are capable of in modern day war. I mean, I'm sure that's what they're kind of trying to see. Like,
are you saying that we could be using Ukraine as a testing ground? Surely not.
Absolutely.
Surely not.
Cue the sitcom laughter.
I'm sure the thought passes by in their mind. They're like, hey, might as well give this a fucking look while they're at it. Yeah, they don't give a shit. That's the level of not giving a fuck that they're at.
Right here. Let's pull this up just so we have Business Insider. Nearly a third of the Bradley armored fighting vehicles have been lost or damaged. We said,
"Oh, they're so high tech."
Yeah, they're amazing. No, but I mean, it's just the point of it that you
military grade
that you were getting on is, I mean, we're basically giving what would be a peasant a sword and telling them to learn how to fight a knight from another country. It's like we're giving an English peasant a fucking heirloom longsword and said, "Hey, go kill Sir G de Fairyfoot, who's killed 38 men in single combat." And it's like, go use it. And it's like, I mean, not to diminish the Ukrainian people's capabilities, because obviously they've been staving back the Russian military for a year and a half now. But I mean, you can't just integrate foreign weapon systems and just have them work seamlessly. It's just great. And not only that, but it's diminishing the West's military capabilities.
Yeah. And here's something to make clear. We're not talking about the Ukrainian people fighting.
Not at all.
We're talking about Zelensky.
Not at all. Yeah, we're talking about the powers that be. Not
we're talking about the people orchestrating your deaths and not caring.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure the not nationwide, worldwide consensus of war is nobody fucking wants it. Everyone just wants to be left alone to live a happy, quiet life and just get by. But that's not profitable, so. All right. Do we have any more points on Ukraine?
That was it.
Okay. That was supposed to be the side piece.
It's a good side piece.
It was.
It
was. It's just something that needs to be discussed, because there's a lot that could be. There's a lot of ways that this could go.
So if that didn't make you miserable enough, let's talk about Maui.
Let's talk about Maui. So Maui, today is the 19th of August, 2023. So the fires in Maui started when? Do we know that exactly? I believe it was the 24th? Let's take a look.
Maybe it was the 26th, but that's my best guess, because I remember reading that, but I could be misremembering.
Let's take a look.
August 8th. No,
August 8th?
Yeah, August 8th.
Really?
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So it started in August. So that's another thing. How are we just now hearing about this? Something that's been.
Wow, that changes everything. I didn't know that.
The largest. The largest death toll, or the largest death of fire in the United States? Don't fact check me on that, but I just heard. Second largest? Okay.
Yeah, second largest.
The fires were already being started weeks.
Okay. All right. Hang on. We're keeping you on track. Okay. Start from the top. We'll get there.
What, Hawaiian Electric?
No, just whatever you want to start with on your pay. You're the one that did the research.
All right. So most of the blame for the Maui wildfires has been on Hawaiian Electric. One of the reasons there's been numerous
that has BlackRock Holdings.
The Hawaiian Electric company owned by BlackRock and Vanguard.
No.
Absolutely.
Don't say that.
There have been numerous reports and videos of shrubs and trees overgrown along the power lines in the second most expensive real estate property in the world that has just been reduced to ash. It is the responsibility of the electric company owned by BlackRock and Vanguard to maintain a clearance of 10 feet around the power lines. This was not the case in the residential area affected by the fire in Maui. There's been video reports of this, eyewitness accounts. It was a perfect recipe for disaster for a wildfire.
And mind you, if anybody that knows anything about the islands of Hawaii, it is a jungle climate, which means climate. I don't know why I said climate. Climate. I mean, dude, the freaking if a fire ever starts, there is so much fuel for that shit.
Yep.
I mean, it's nothing but trees and plants. And
if you pull up the source, Hawaiian Electric knew the threat. It's not. The source doesn't really go into it. They just make the claim. Apparently, Hawaiian Electric knew 4 years ago about the negligence around the power lines and did nothing because they were focusing on a shift to clean energy. Some people are talking about they intentionally did nothing because
concluded that in 2019 wildfires, it needed to do more to prevent its power lines from emitting sparks. It vowed to conduct drone surveys in areas vulnerable to wildfires to determine how to help keep residents and infrastructure safe. But 4 years later, very little had followed. Only $245,000 between 2019 and 2022. Mind you, $22,000 is like absolutely nothing.
They're in the second most expensive real estate in the world.
Right. I mean, a plane ticket out there is like $2,000. You do the math. This is a power company for the people that live out there in $1 million homes. So that's a drop in the bucket of what their resources are. A bright flash in the woods is likely what caused Maui's. Okay, that's getting off topic. That's getting off topic with your websites, Andrew.
Another issue is the fact that during hurricane strength winds, powerful enough to knock down the power lines, Hawaiian Electric Company, owned by BlackRock and Vanguard, failed to cut off power to prevent disaster.
So, whenever something...
The next source for that one.
The next source?
Yeah.
Okay. So, now, does this...
They had a plan in place to cut off the power in case of high winds, and they failed to cut off the power in high winds.
4 days... Oh, wow.
This should be a routine thing when it comes to pre-planning for hurricanes that are coming. I mean, you can see it on the radar when it comes to meteorologists.
You go to any gas station and there's an off button.
This is criminal neglect.
There's an off button at the gas pumps. You see a flame, you're hitting that shit.
Yeah, good point.
You know? Like, this is just, I mean,
common sense.
Yeah, I mean, they're literally contingent.
They don't value contingencies.
No, they don't.
NATO doesn't value human life. We're at war.
Now, mind you, this is from the Washington Post, so it doesn't get any more legit than this. 4 days before... take that how you will. 4 days before fast-moving brush fires engulfed parts of Maui, weather forecasters warned authorities that powerful wind gusts would trigger dangerous fire conditions across much of the island. Now, mind you, 4 days prior. And why aren't they heated? Why would that not be heated?
4 days ain't enough.
No, it's just like the PA system. Why would you hit the alarm? Okay. Let's get back. I'm going.
Hawaiian Electric is owned by Vanguard and BlackRock, who has been shifting their focus to clean energy and, according to the Great Reset, in order to build back better, phrase you might have heard often, the old system must first be destroyed so the So the power. Hold on.
So the power was left on to feed the flames.
Yes.
Okay.
In order to build back better, the old system must first be destroyed. So the power
Okay,
was left
now
on to feed the
let's
flame. That's our theory.
Let's clarify.
That's
let's
allegedly.
clarify. This is the running theory. This is not anything concrete. This is. I mean, if you know anything about BlackRock and Vanguard, allegedly, if you know anything about BlackRock and Vanguard, they're definitely paragons of virtuous decision making, and they care about you, the little man. If you can't detect sarcasm, I don't know what to tell you.
Then you're Piazza.
Yeah. Kind of terrifying if we just sit there and kind of think about that. Again, the powers that be, being the some of the if not the largest investment firms in on the globe,
biggest
have their
company in the
hands in
world,
this.
and they can't figure out.
He was afraid the people would run into the fire.
That's the next
So,
point. The warning
I know.
systems on
I'm just
Maui
reading it.
is one of the most advanced and maintained systems on Earth. On the day of the fire, no sirens went off. The director in charge of the warning system was at a FEMA disaster seminar in a different island as the fires were devastating the people, and did not return until the morning after the fires had destroyed Maui. When asked if he regrets not sounding the alarm, he said no, because he was afraid that people would run into the fire.
Including
But instead, they burned to death at home, including a number of children who were at home alone during the morning due to a school cancellation.
It's so messed up.
Man, it's hard to it's hard to just read that.
He said this happened August 8th.
No. This is
when it started.
The fires sparked on August 8th and continued to burn until the recent massive fire that destroyed it.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like I don't necessarily want to say exactly what I think should happen to that man. But how do you get a job as the chief?
If you pull up the source, it gets even worse.
What source is that? Do we have that?
Hawaii. Oh, it's further down. So if you go to refusal to turn on, never mind. That's a different guy. I'm thinking of the water resource management. That'll be next.
Okay. No, that's fine. But I did hear this earlier. This is confirmed. That the sirens weren't used.
That's how do you defend that?
You don't.
They said that they're for hurricanes only, which is the guy actually lied. And I forget the website that he said that he was trying to confirm this to be. But if you actually go to I don't know if you can find this or not, but it was that police. He wasn't the police chief, but the hell is that guy's name? He resigned just recently because of health reasons.
Emergency response.
Yeah, something like that. But he was saying how on the website or whatever that the sirens are only used for during hurricanes or high wind, or literally just for hurricanes. But it was actually for all. I mean, they're used for all emergencies. Like it's to let people know that something's wrong.
That's why he resigned. That's why he resigned. He's a liar.
Yeah, not because of health reasons.
He's not going to be held accountable. He resigned so that people can stop talking about it, and the mainstream media is not going to cover it, and everyone's just going to forget, just like Afghanistan. Just like Operation Northwoods.
That's what happens all the time.
Just like the Las Vegas mass shooting, which we'll
you know who is going to cover it? The Bunker Hill Boys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right here. Washington Post. Again, the most credible, reliable news source I've ever heard in my life. If these fucking people post it, then you know it's got to be legit, because these people comb through everything that's against the narrative. Yeah, right here. Maui's emergency management chief, Herman Andea, has resigned after facing mounting public criticism for not activating public alert sirens, devastating wildfires raged across swaths of the Hawaiian island. So I kind of want to hit on this real quick, because this kind of hits a little bit home to me. The town I lived in up here, They have a air raid siren. I no longer live there, but they did. They have an air raid siren. I mean, it is right out of World War II. They use that when large fires happen, or if there's water spouts, because I live on a Great Lake, if there's water spouts detected, which there are many, they sound the air raid siren. Now, I don't really think that I'm about to get bombed when I hear that siren. So the first thing that I do isn't go and dive underneath a fucking food cellar somewhere. I'm like, hey, there's either a fire or there's another natural. Wrong. There's something wrong. Yes. If you hear that siren, something's wrong. Yes.
There's a threat to human life.
It's common sense.
That's a point I wanted to make. It's a class issue. This elite class that's in control of everything and the elite bureaucracy, they think you're stupid. They think they can get away with anything. He's going to resign. No one's going to talk about it, and everyone's just going to forget about it.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's 2023, and you're going to be the director in charge of not sounding the alarm, and your excuse is people were going to run into the fire if you sounded the alarm? Come on.
Or was he supposed to be the fall guy? Who's his boss? Who's telling him to, just say not, I'm sure
someone obviously told him to resign.
Someone told him to,
because he was standing up there.
Who's he taking the fall for?
Yeah, he tried to fight with his excuse. Oh, I didn't want people running the fire, and then he resigns.
Yeah, then he resigns.
I mean, that's just a gross dereliction of duty. I mean, it just is.
Criminal negligence. Regardless of intent, it's criminal negligence.
This sounds terrible, but let's call it for what it is. If one moron runs into the fire and dies, and you save 99 versus 100 people dying for not doing it, I mean, am I crazy for saying that? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Sense. It's common sense. You don't even need to use. Don't even use logic. Don't even give them that.
And to hit on it one more time, back in the day, and we're going back to medieval peasants because that's back when people had more natural human instincts than they do now. It seems. In small towns, they used to have a bell, and the bell meant, hey, something's wrong, and everyone should gather together and figure out what to do. And when there was raiders, they'd ring the bell. If there was a fire, they'd ring the bell. Like, if there was a murder, they'd ring the bell.
Wake people up.
You wake people
start
up.
Paying attention.
Right. You say, hey, something's wrong. What do they do at church? They ring the bell when it's time to congregate. It's like, whenever something's supposed to happen, the church thing isn't a good example because everyone just goes to church. But it's common sense. You don't hear a fucking air raid siren and think, hey, everything is exactly what it's going to be. It's just stupid.
The Maui alert system is one of the most advanced systems in the world, and you're not going to use it during one
because
of the
people are
biggest
stupid.
Wildfires in almost a century.
Oop, wrong one.
There's no justification.
No, unless, he is the fall man, which we could go down that rabbit hole. What else we got?
The water resource management. You can pull up the source. Refusal to turn on water as fire raids.
Okay.
The Deputy Director of Water Resource Management, I'm not going to pronounce his name right. I'll just say Manuel. I don't know if it's first name or last name.
That's fine.
He was named an Obama Foundation leader, by the way. Refused to release water for the Maui fires until it was too late. He says in order to share water, Hawaiians need to discuss equity. Another example of the woke left valuing their ideology more than human life. Another point that we hit on earlier. They don't value your life. According to the sources, Manuel wanted West Maui land to get permission from a farm located downstream from the company's property. Manuel eventually released water, but not until after the fire had spread. So they were coming to him, requesting water. The fires were destroying property, killing everyone that was around it, and his response was, go talk to the farm downstream and see how it's going to affect their property before we start saving everyone's life. And by the time he turned it on, it was too late.
The property that might not be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They don't value your life.
Yeah, I also
They value the water more than your life.
Yeah. No, I heard another excuse how, I mean, the guy was trying to make the argument for Hawaiians seeing water as having somewhat of a divinity or being divine to something.
That's what he talked about in recent interviews.
Yeah, same thing.
And that word equity, I've been seeing equity like crazy recently.
With what else?
Equality, the definition of equality is equal opportunity, and equity is equal outcome, regardless of opportunity.
Equality and equity are different. Equality means everyone is treated the same exact way, regardless of the differences. Equity means everyone is provided what they need to succeed.
Yeah, so it's freedom of opportunity versus freedom of equality of opportunity versus equality of outcome.
Yep.
Throughout our nation's history, it's always been about equality. Everyone has the same opportunity. It's up to you to decide how you're going to use that opportunity and what your outcome is going to be. And from the left, we've been hearing about equity recently, which is equality of outcome, which is a Marxist socialist ideology.
Hey,
and
fun
it's in
fact,
the water
real
resource
quick.
management of Hawaii.
Fun fact, real quick. Do you guys know where Karl Marx was born and what nationality he is?
I don't.
Take a shot. Take a shot.
Oh,
I thought
an Englishman. I mean,
I thought he was Russian.
Ukrainian.
He's German.
Oh, okay. Marx.
These Germans and their socialist parties, you know,
We're still trying to take over the world.
Cats, bunch of crazy cats. Anyways,
Klaus Schwab, George Soros.
Yeah.
Easy killer. This is the pilot. Okay. I actually, real quick, I want to pull up information on this fine gentleman, because earlier we talked about the Obama, the whole. Let me pull that up so I don't misquote it.
Obama Foundation leader.
Yeah, the Obama Foundation leader, and I want to pull this up on the side and read about this. Oh, well, it's it's literally on the Hawaii government document.
Hey.
Trust but verify, my friend. Trust but verify. Right here. So, Kaleo was born and raised on the island of Hawaii and currently resides in Manoa, Oahu. He is currently serving a second term as Deputy Director of State of Hawaii and commissioned to water resource management tasks on administering the state water code created in 1987. He is in Alopa and Ho'opa and Alahu, Paua, Atama, and traditionally writes with the Kuma Halua, he also holds a BA in Hawaiian Studies, a master's degree in urban and regional planning, so he doesn't know about fire codes.
He cares more about,
but he has a master's degree in urban planning.
Over your life.
Isn't like half of urban planning learning how to not
I'm sure
cause an entire city to burn down? Like, am I crazy?
You would think it'd be mentioned, but
I don't.
Once or twice.
I think you are crazy.
Yeah, I know crazy. I'm crazy. I'm talking about this shit.
It's the left takes care of.
So right here at the bottom is the point I wanted to hit out. Kaleo is one of 200 inaugural Obama leaders representing Asia Pacific region in the Obama Foundation. Now, if he's a party man, and he has ties with the land in BlackRock. I don't want to connect too many dots, but
They have
you
to
know,
be. The timing, coincidences,
Follow
that's
the money.
evidence enough in my eyes.
Follow the money.
never.
It's just a coincidence.
Coincidence? I think not. Okay. No, and at the end of the day, we're digging deep into this shit. We're connecting to the dots. I definitely think I speak for all three of us when I say that it's terrible, and that obviously, just like we said with the whole Ukrainian situation, our heart goes out to the people, not
Absolutely.
not these corrupt
Yeah.
peoples
Regardless
in
of the
power.
intent that we're theorizing about, it is criminal neglect because of the loss of human life.
Yeah, totally. And at the end of the day, these people need to be held accountable and need to be brought to justice. And
it can't
our
be
country,
forgotten like we usually do.
no, and too often things are swept under the rug. And the longer we keep talking about things, the longer they'll live on for, and hopefully, eventually, justice will be, justice
Delivered.
will be carried out on these people. And also, Epstein didn't kill himself. But yeah, that part where the people were hitting on how he was talking about how water is sacred, and that it's like, I understand in the sense of like Earth, there does need to be resource conservation to a degree in my mind, like in the sense of like, there doesn't need to be waste. I think waste is a huge issue. But there's a difference between waste and like weird obsession with this shit. Like,
The issue is it doesn't take precedence over human life.
no,
Yeah.
never.
Yeah.
Nothing does. Nothing does at the end of the day, especially if you're the government that is elected, not put in place, but elected to protect you. I mean, there's a oh god, let me think about where I was hearing this from. Oh, that book that I recently listened to. The Pale Horse.
Oh,
The Pale Horse.
Behold
Now,
a Pale Horse, written by Milton William Cooper.
now hang on. Everyone knows that there's a lot of shit behind that. But the one thing that I definitely think is it's irrefutable, is that humans, especially in the West, are basically your ass is powdered as a child. Now, all of us grew up differently. I mean, let's not even get into the whole
in the United
privilege
States is nothing
thing.
compared to poverty in third world countries.
Correct. There's a difference between a spoonful of rice a day and eating boxed
cheese.
mac and cheese and hot dogs.
Yeah.
There's a difference. Rice is healthier. No. But I definitely think that Americans have their hand held all through their childhood by their parents, which we do. And, but I feel like we're also instilled with a set of morals and values that keep us moving forward as adults, to where you can provide for yourself, provide for a family, and help your community. But that's being lost like crazy. And one thing that he does hit on in that book is that we basically view the government as like our parents, and that we want them to take care of us. And if that's the case, which the term sheeple is very much a thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know many people in my life that I talk to about shit like this, and they're just like, they literally put their hand up and they're like, I don't want to hear about it.
It's like they've forgotten the quote, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. It's opposite.
Yes. No, and if that's the state of the union, if you will, that we're in, we're at a point where the government, Big Brother, our parents, they're not even doing their jobs.
And they're not being held accountable.
And who are the people that can hold them accountable? Well, the people that elect them in. Yep. So wake the fuck
One of
I'm sorry.
Benjamin Franklin's quotes on the only way to preserve the republic is for a well-informed union, a well-informed population.
Well-informed populace, yes, and it's true. It's true. You need
What was the other one? He walked out of in Philadelphia. He walked out, and they said, "What did you do?" He said, "Well, we have a republic if you can keep it."
yeah, and unfortunately, there are so many people that I interact with in the day-to-day that not only don't keep up with current events, because to me that's like the least you could do to be informed is just keeping up with current events, but they have no idea who's even representing them. And to be honest, I've been guilty of that, especially moving different states and whatnot. But
yeah,
it's time that people need to really do some self-reflection on themselves and also on who's supposed to be piloting the ship. Because if you're voting these people to pilot the ship that are like, hey, there's some rocks over here, but I think I see some gold on it, and you're like, hey, let's not sink the ship for a little bit of fucking gold, and they're like, hey, no, we should fucking sink the ship for some gold. You should probably not let that guy drive the boat. I'm sorry, I'm coming up with stupid ass analogies, but I don't know, it's crazy. I'm ranting. Anyways, do we have more on this?
Yeah, a couple more.
Oh yeah, the spicy one.
So
spicy police department one.
Not anti-police, but we got to talk about it because it's negligence. Without any warnings and without any water, people tried to flee and were stopped by the police, who had orders to keep people from escaping. There are reports of people trying to flee from fires getting stopped by police blockades on their way out to a safe haven. You can pull up that source. It's got eyewitness reports of police blockades preventing people from escaping the fire, not from going into the fire.
That's actually insane. I did not even hear about that.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, numerous eyewitness reports on that.
Yeah. I heard it from this old man.
Yes, Fish. His name was
Fish. Yeah.
If you can pull up, can you pull up videos? If you can pull up the video of Fish, that would be amazing.
Let's see if this says anything. Ad. Fish. We're talking like F-I-S-H?
It was Fisher.
Yeah. So
was
he's
the last name?
Yeah, Fisher, Fish, something. Talking about the police blockade.
So this is YouTube. Can you guys hear that audio? I want to make sure you guys can hear the audio if I play it. Can you hear that?
No.
No? I don't know if I can route audio through this. Is this a screen share? What's up with the audio? I'll figure that out later, but
did the video start?
he literally, that's eyewitness account. Now mind you, he's old, so he probably was seeing things. That's how it always goes. But yeah, that's crazy. That he said that the cop said that they were under orders to not let anybody out.
Yeah.
Oh, Andrew just dropped.
Oh,
DDoS me.
Oh.
That's going on the podcast. Clip that.
Trying to shut me down.
Yeah, no, we were just talking about how it's I made the joke of saying like, oh yeah, he's an old man. But the whole controlled opposition thing, it's like it almost makes people that question things like in a state of paranoia constantly, which is I don't want to live like that. But a lot was just hitting on the facts with like, with AI and shit. You never know. But anyway, obviously that's an old man. Obviously that's an old man that has lived in Maui for a long ass time.
Highly
And-
respected by the community too.
Right. He's like,
Yeah.
the guy just said in that video, he's like the old dude that's always sitting in one of the places selling shit, and everybody knows it. He's like the old kook of the town, not the kook, but he's just like the cool old dude of the town. I'm pretty sure we all know somebody that's like that.
Local legend.
Yeah, local legend. There we go. And I mean, like, why in the hell would the police, anybody on the police department, be informed to not let people out? I mean, this isn't like a quarantine. This is a natural disaster.
I'll take his word over the Maui chief of police, who was the incident commander.
I like that
one of the
segue.
biggest cover-up operations in U.S. history, the 2017 Las Vegas mass shooting.
Oh shit! Here comes the rabbit hole, boys.
No, that whole instance was pretty interesting when it first occurred.
Las Vegas?
Yeah, I mean, I just remember hearing about the on-the-ground shooters from multiple different eyewitnesses, and
as soon as the story broke that multiple witnesses were talking about shooters from opposite directions,
on the ground,
mainstream media completely dropped the story.
Automatic weapon fire from different places? What?
Yeah, and then a lot of those eyewitnesses who claim that they literally saw foot soldiers in the crowd shooting into the crowds turned up dying in some horrific accident, mainly car accidents that just randomly drove the fuck off the road or whatnot. I remember seeing a lot of different
kind of like the
headlines
eyewitnesses
about
in
that
Dallas.
shit. Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to find it anymore, but
the multiple shooter eyewitnesses in Dallas.
Yeah.
At the JFK assassination, they all ended up dying.
Nah, bro,
yeah,
nah.
same fucking thing. Yeah.
Nah, never. Y'all are crazy, man. There's no way. There's no way that, dude. Oh god, it boils my blood. It boils my blood because how stupid do they have to think we are? I mean, they must really think that we're absolute fucking animals to not see through the bullshit. Like, okay, all right. Where's the source? Where's the source? Think you're stupid.
Yeah.
We got to pull up the source on this.
Right under. I didn't put a source for that one, but you can easily pull it up. Okay. Maui police chief. Just find his name and then look him up with the Las Vegas shooting.
John Pelletier.
I'm going to save that for later because I'm going to look into him.
I'm curious to see when he became the Maui police chief.
John Pelletier, in December of 2021, stepped up as chief of police in the Maui Police Department. Pivotal role, placing him responsible, ensuring yada, yada, yada.
He's not from Maui. He's a Las Vegas guy, right? Why are they randomly putting this guy in charge of the Maui Police Department?
Previous role.
Why he's a lot different than Las Vegas.
Hang on, right here. Previous role, police captain, Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department.
Yep. He was the incident commander in charge of the Las Vegas mass shooting.
Now, if we know anything, we know that... Okay, well, hang on. What do you guys know as far as BlackRock's political alignment? Do we know?
I know that they're working alongside the WEF.
What's the WEF?
I'm sure.
Go ahead and just
World
clarify
Economic
it.
Forum, has plans to build smart cities around the world, 15-minute smart cities using AI and electricity.
One second. Let me look this up for my... Let me look this up for my... Oh! Well, this is interesting. With one quick little Google search.
Pull it up, Turner.
So hang on. Let's just clarify this. So, company's owned by BlackRock, the power board, right?
Yep.
They wanted to buy up the real estate in Maui. Wasn't happening,
Yes, and the
right?
people refused
Yep.
to sell.
This is the CEO of BlackRock. Larry Fink, who's the company's chairman and CEO, biggest asset manager, stockholder in several U.S. companies, yada, yada, yada. Fink emphasized green energy, and in 2023, he placed climate change as a main focal point.
And
Now, is
there
that
was a
not what just
book.
caused the fire in Maui? Was climate
There was a book.
change?
There's a book that was published while the fire was still raging. A book was published. I have the source on Barnes & Noble. You can pull it up real quick. Just a quick point to make. The book titled Fire and Fury, the story of the 2023 Maui fire and its implications for climate change. The book blames climate change and was written by Dr. Miles Stones. It was published while the fires were still raging. It is like a game plan to blame the entire event on climate change.
Fire and Fury, the story of the 2023 Maui fire and its implication for climate change.
The fires were still burning when this book was published.
Oh, wow. This is one review. I actually purchased the book, poorly written in draft form, repeating paragraphs, including the destruction of all of these in all areas that were not destroyed. Try to locate author, no avail. This person co-authored the
Psyop.
vegan book.
Operation Mockingbird.
Now, mind you, this is barnesandnoble.com. Dr. Miles
Look at the published
Stone.
the date it was published.
Yeah, August 10th.
Can we see that?
Yeah, it's
When were the fires?
August 8th.
Okay, so oh yeah, publication date August 10th. So a fire that starts on August 8th has a fucking book published
Lahaina
2 days
burned
later
August
on it.
8th. August 8th is the day the residential area was completely destroyed. Same day.
Where
No,
is this
no,
guy?
No. We're conflicting stories here. The book was published 8/10/23. So the book was
August 10th.
published on August 10th. The fire started on August 8th.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that this dude was able
still wasn't
to
completely put out.
You're telling me that a dude was able to write a book about everything that was destroyed and the aftermath of it and blame it all on global
And get
warming
it published.
Yeah,
in
like
2
get it
days?
published.
getting the evidence for that, like how in 2 days, like when even a verdict's not come out as
Up
to
on
how
Barnes and
these
Noble.
fucking fires even started, where the people aren't even aware, the sirens aren't going off, but this dude knows. Oh, climate change started.
The
Started this.
sirens
point.
aren't going off.
Climate
Great point.
change, easily.
Yeah.
It was climate change.
The
I'm
alarms
gonna write
aren't
a
even
fucking
going
book
off,
about it.
and this guy has the
Where
entire
Look,
inside baseball of the entire event.
can
Yeah.
we look up where this guy lives, where he resides? Unless he's there. I mean, I would like to know if he even has is he even given the opportunity to like see it in person?
I feel like it's a fake
Let's
name.
see who Dr. Miles
Stones.
Stone
Milestone.
is.
Probably covered.
All these people are saying that it's horrible. Don't buy this fiction piece. Why was it even written? So it's okay in America to commit heinous acts to get what you want as long as it's in the name of climate change and write about it prior to the event. No wonder the country's going to hell in a handbasket. Oh boy. Okay, let's try to find a Dr. Miles Stone.
I don't even think he has a Wikipedia page. This guy is not real.
Yeah, that's interesting.
He's not a real person.
He doesn't have.
Why make this anyway? If it's obviously bullshit.
The milestones. Definition
Yeah, I
of
don't think
milestone: an action
there's
or event marking a
there's like
significant
no
change or stage in development.
It's just for a quick buck. I mean, maybe.
Oh god. I mean, if that's the case,
It's not a real person.
that is the least amount of implication, is that it's just a fucking cash grab.
Yeah.
Which is still horrible.
Yeah, it's fucked. I mean,
because you're just making money off of people's. I mean, I guess you could say that for any history book that's written, but that's not a history book if it's published while the history is fucking happening.
literally happening.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Find
that's
an
crazy.
anonymous author.
No, it's Dr. Miles Stone. Everybody knows him.
Yeah.
He's well accomplished for his books, such as, you know.
If you want to pull up the source, right after that one, Maui Smart City. The WEF, according to the Great Reset, have been planning to turn Maui into the test bed for their AI smart grid, 15-minute cities. But as you mentioned earlier, the people there refuse to sell. So you decide. Looks like they burned them out since they refused to sell the land.
Well, there's a great way to buy up a bunch of real estate if there's nothing standing on it.
Yeah, and after all that real estate is burned, the governor of Hawaii said that he already has plans for the state to acquire the land. He said it was either to make open spaces
verified?
for a memorial. Yes, it is. He's on video talking to reporters about it. So you can pull up any headline, any mainstream media.
So, and this is who, the governor?
Yes, the governor of Hawaii. He said that the state is already planning on acquiring the land.
Alright, let's see. I want to make sure that this is legit before we say things.
You can just pull up the video if you want.
This is... Okay, hang on. This... Let's not... These are all saying that that's taken out of context.
Right, but they still quote it, even though they're saying it's taken out of context.
Well, it's because the video's...
That's for us to decide. I'm sure they still quote it.
I'm taking a look. Give me a second.
They say taken out of context because they know the theory that we're already coming up with that they're trying to cover up.
Well, no. I mean, this video is saying that he's said that he is having attorneys actually protect the people from predatory land grabs.
Okay. I saw a video of him saying the state's already planning on acquiring the land. They're either going to use it as open spaces for a memorial or something else.
I'll give it time,
but
I wouldn't doubt.
The fact is, the state is planning on acquiring the land. It's already in works. That's their excuse. That's the backdrop of it. Oh, we're doing it to protect them. The state is acquiring the land, no matter what justification you use for it.
Let's. Okay, here we go. Clean. Allow the town to become affordable. The fact while rescue teams search people outside. Governor wants the land to return. Plan for a smart city. A similar post on TikTok had 3.8 million views. These views draw far-right tropes. The global-minded organizations such as the United Nations World Economic Forum, smart 15-minute cities, smart. Right, I think a new way to acquire the land so you can put it into workforce housing, put it back in families. And continues, we don't want this to become a clear space where, yes, you, the people from overseas, just come and decide to take it. So it's, I mean, let's call it for what it is. It seems like that was taken out of context and kind of hyped up. So I don't necessarily know if that's, regardless of what the governor has to say on that, though, that doesn't mean that these large companies aren't going to try.
Well, whatever the excuse is for it, the state is acquiring the land.
I mean, it's.
I mean, what value does that land have now that people who owned it prior, and what value does it have if it's destroyed? If they're, given an offer for them to buy it from them, would they deny it?
Did you send me a link?
Yeah. It has his quotes from what he said in the reports.
Let me pull
the state
that up. Did you text that to me?
Land from the residents. Yeah.
Okay. Post-millennial. On Monday, Hawaii Governor Josh Green, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Let's take a look at this. Is looking to acquire land that was grabbed in the fires. On Monday, Hawaiian Governor Josh Green announced that his administration has been considering acquiring properties in the seaside resort of Lahaina that have been destroyed in recent wildfires. He vowed to prevent foreign buying powers from swooping in and exploiting the tragedy, suggesting that the state was better suited to take control of the land. Already thinking ways for the state to acquire the land so that we can put it into workforce housing, to put it back into families, or to make it open spaces perpetuity as a memorial to the people that were lost. We want this to be something that we remember after the pain passes.
My issue with that is he said the state is planning on acquiring the land while preventing people from purchasing. The state's not going to purchase it from the residents. They're just going to take it from them and do whatever they want with it. The residents aren't going to receive any payment from it. It just becomes, the state just becomes the owners of the land.
Well, I mean, they'll own it, and then whoever the outside of, businesses or companies that want to buy it are,
or are they just going to take it?
Yeah, I mean that's the big question, and then it's like with all the damage that's been done, and you got to think about all the debris, all the rubble, everything. It's like it'd be a long ass time of cleanup before you could draw straight lines and actually determine on whose land is what.
Yeah.
And, the entire landscape's going to be changed too. So it's like, how do you go about giving people what's theirs? I don't know. That's just kind of the whole situation sounds sketchy as hell to me.
Just like another sketchy issue I have. Did you know the residents of Maui aren't allowed to leave unless they have a permission slip from the government? They call them plaques.
I didn't know that. No.
Yeah, that's how they were able to prevent people from outside from Maui coming into the island to help support the residents. They're called plaques, like a plaque that you put on the wall. But
Huh.
yeah, the residents literally aren't allowed to leave unless the government gives them permission.
Let's look that up. I am not seeing anything on that.
Where'd
They
you
got
find
a source
that,
for it.
Winterstein?
Did you?
Yeah, right under federal
Did I miss
government,
it? Oh,
government
yep, there we
permission
go.
slips
Okay.
preventing hate.
MauiCounty.gov. Boy.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a
shit.
great source.
Solid.
West
yeah,
Maui
hard
Access
source.
Placard. Oh, it's a placard. That's why it didn't come up.
Placard.
You
not
said
plaque.
plaques.
Too many sound.
Oahu and Lanana Kupa Kupa residents will be granted placards to enter and exit through Malaya. Placard distribution will continue throughout the week. To expedite travel, the West Maui Access placards will be distributed on Monday, August 14th to ensure efficient traffic management prioritize. That's, okay.
There was crowds of residents trying to leave the island because their houses are destroyed to go to some family's house for the time being, and they're being prevented from leaving the island.
Well, they have to have a
It's
placard.
just sad negligence from the federal government.
Now, is this for leaving, or is this to get access
Leaving
to Western?
It's for the residents trying to leave and visitors entering the island.
Gotcha.
That was one of the big issues. A lot of people were trying to set up organizations to bring aid to the residents of Maui, and they were being blocked by the federal government from entering the island to deliver aid to the residents who lost everything.
That's crazy. What the hell?
I guess it's not the... does that sound like the United States of America?
It's free. We're free.
Free country, huh?
Free country. As long as your island burns. That's crazy, dude.
The government failed them on every single level during this disaster. Not only that, but they stopped the people from organizing to help the residents.
Yeah. It's like
something people
makes
ought to
you
think
wonder
about.
why
to vote these mother effers out of office. Put plans in place like this.
I mean, it definitely, like I was saying earlier, you
don't
need
rely
to
on daddy government, like you said. Don't rely on your big brother, big daddy government. They won't take care of you.
You can't rely on anybody. You can't rely on anybody but yourself and your close group of friends and family, because I'll tell you, the government right now, the way that they've been in Maui and over there in Hawaii, it's just been
been awful. It's like they don't even give a fuck. Like they sent $700 per household for support.
That too. How much? How much do
federal funds?
You do the math.
I mean,
how much could you have given to Maui just based off of what we've given to Ukraine? You can't even compare them.
You get more than enough
per household, and then billions with a B to Ukraine.
That's not even a plane ticket. That's not even a plane ticket out of there.
Yeah, $700.
No,
don't spend it all in one place, Maui.
No. Yeah. Hey, you might be able to get a hotel room for 2 nights.
Yeah.
Good luck.
You can fill your truck up and get a couple groceries.
Yeah.
You can fill your truck up and go to the other side of the island, wait for that to burn.
Yeah.
That's crazy, dude. Oh, man. Well,
Moral
Do
of
you have
today's
anything else to hit
podcast,
on
they
that
do
topic?
not value human life. They don't look out for you. Don't rely on them. Get informed.
The powers that be, at least right now.
Yeah.
No.
And it's about class. It's the elitist mentality.
And the reason that they've been able to get as far as they have is through complacency of the populace.
And
Absolutely.
lack of
100%.
education and people not being informed.
A lack
Yep.
for care of. Because people are just trying to get by day to day. They're too caught up in what
And
their
it is hard. There's a lot of
career
distractions.
is.
Inflation.
Oh, absolutely. There's
interest
a number
rates.
of distractions.
Hey, there's cocaine in the White House.
Degradation of the family.
Yeah.
Hey, oh ho!
Bag of cocaine in the White House.
That's for
Hey,
next
don't
week.
look there. We have a hearsay report of aliens. Let's talk about
Hey,
that.
look over here. Look over. It's the mothership.
Yeah.
It's the mothership.
Excuse me.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's. And you're right as far as the distractions. Like it, I can't wake up and not see something on the news of. I mean, it's like the stupidest shit is pushed to the front of the news. I
Yeah.
mean, like this new viral trend. Oh, this new viral trend. Oh, you got to try this. Like I go on like different news platforms and it's like not ones that I actually use, but like, you go on the front or you like click on the Google News app and it's like 5 must try quick meals at home. And it's like, cool, but that's not news, dude. Like that's not news at all. That's not, hey, what the hell is going on around me? That's and again, it comes to those dopamine hits because we're being trained to have these dopamine hits that last.
We're being
15
trained
seconds.
to hate each other.
We're also
They want to
trained
put us
not
on
to
two
care.
sides, so we're constantly
Like
fighting
people
each other
realize.
instead of.
Oh yeah.
Don't join. We outnumber them. We absolutely outnumber the elite. I think my flag speaks for itself.
Yeah, on your point, Lot, of not caring, like I was saying earlier today, or tonight, whatever time it is, empathy is a very quickly diminishing trait of the youth of this country. And
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's being turned into only having empathy for the select class of people, for whoever is picked who you're supposed to have empathy for. I mean, I'm not gonna go into
Ukrainian
like
flag
the
in
whole
the Facebook
transgender or like the minority, whoever the minority is, fucking day of the week or whatever the flavor is, like at time of the month.
I stand with
like,
Ukraine flags on Facebook.
It's yeah, exactly. Like that's who you're supposed to have empathy for, just so like they have their reason to keep this war going or whatever the case is for whenever. It's just empathy is driven by the media. The best way.
Don't
To
have
say
empathy for the civilians in
it's-
Iraq. Have empathy for the Ukrainians.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's and again that all circles back to what is all of this tied to? The narrative.
Yeah.
It's the narrative that is preached to you. It's the narrative that you are supposed to take as canon and as gospel and whatever the hell you want to call it. And this is just the way of the world. Shut the hell up. Don't question it and live in your little bubble and eat your fucking chicken nuggets and fucking watch your TikToks and fucking become addicted to pornography. Don't have a normal family. Don't go outside and socialize. And it's terrifying because it's isolationism. If that's a word, I hope that's a word.
It's
It
not
is.
a
No,
legitimate ideology.
It-
it's
it-
not a
it-
right ideology. It's the elite ideology being pushed on us.
Right, because I mean, I guarantee you. Actually, I don't guarantee you. I know for a fact that I have talked to many people on the left and many people on the right. A lot of their ideologies line up. I mean, I'm not saying that they're necessarily like on the same page of the
Our
sense of like, hey,
principles line
he
up.
might handle it this way, but yes, and that's where it comes back down to where the hell did basic human morality come from?
The only
excuse me, not
opposing
where did it come from.
morality is
Where
from
did
the
it
elite
go?
class.
I was gonna say that's a whole other talk.
Where did
Be a
it
fun
go?
one. Yeah, it's been ripped out of most people, but I mean, without them even realizing it in most cases, I would say it's just almost
that's true.
some people are just so oblivious.
They're desensitized. The
Yeah.
desensitization of people is insane to me because, I mean, I remember being in high school and seeing some videos that people would show me, and I don't have a weak stomach. I have an extremely dark sense of humor, but some of the shit that I've seen, it's like one of those feelings where you know that you're doing something bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just like I feel this pit in my stomach that my moral compass is like, dude, this is wrong. And it's like, but my peers who are, mind you, 15 are just like, and you know, like I said, I can laugh with the darkest of jokes, but like, it's a point where it's like, these people are being numb to it in real life. It's not when it's funny. It's like the guy that got stabbed, and the guy's like, "Oh, he's getting stabbed, bro."
Yeah, and
it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's 15. Like, of course, like you're pressured somewhat by your peers a lot more easily at that age. But as you get older, you come to the realization that you have the ability to self-reflect and ask yourself, is this the right choice I'm making? What does this add to for the value of my life and whatnot? Go on
personal
about
accountability,
all that. But anyway, exactly. It's just that's lost. I mean, and people, it's just like everything's just made into a fucking joke. It's like it's not a joke. It's serious. Like some things shouldn't be said.
Right, and I think that even corresponds with this situation with Maui, where it's like, I guarantee you that I'll talk to some people that I know are some of the most cynical people, and just I'm a cynical son of a bitch, but so I know these people that are so desensitized and cynical. They'll see this shit with like the Maui police chief, and they'll be on the same page we are, where it's like something doesn't add up, and then they'll just be like, "Well, what are we gonna do about it? Let's just let's just wait till the next thing happens and be like, oh, I'm pissed about
because
it,
nothing will
and then
happen
do nothing
as long
about
as
it."
we
And
are
it's like,
divided.
Exactly.
Right. And that is the moral of the podcast tonight.
Pretty much.
Is stop being left, stop being right, be center, and throw off the chains of oppression, because that is what we've known to do for the entirety of this country's existence. And it needs to happen again. And I'm not saying by any means in a violent way, but it needs to happen
peacefully
through politics. Through politics. It needs to happen through the system that was designed by our forefathers to counter this exact type of oppression. That is my rant.
That would be a great topic for next week. Really diving into that.
Oh,
this
main topic for next week.
Yeah, main topic for next week.
Another island gets
side
destroyed.
topic, main topic, same shit.
Yeah. Well, you guys you want to close with anything? Anything? Final thoughts?
I'll just close with like you said, moral of the podcast. It's not left versus right. It's not black versus white. It's a class issue. It's us versus the elite. The people versus the elite. We're powerless as long as we're divided. And the only way to break that chain is through education and being informed, which we're going to try and do. We're going to help inform people.
Yep.
That's the goal. What, you want to end with anything?
Honestly, just be aware as best of your ability as you can in each present moment you find yourself thinking that thought and looking at the next step that you can take into making the right decision for the betterment of your life and the people around you. I'll say that.
Yep, it's true. It's true. It's true. It's words to live by. Is that self-reflection has never been anything other than a good thing, and that is for everyday decisions, whether it comes down to saying good morning to somebody or if it comes down to voting at the ballots. You know,
Exactly.
it's something that we should all strive to do every single day to better ourselves and our community, like you said. And on that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up.